We are very pleased to be joined by the great one, Mark Levin, host of The Mark Levin Show, heard on WMAL weekdays from 6 to 9 p.m. Mark, good morning to you.
Ryan, how are you, brother?
We're good. It's good to have you up and around with us this morning. We really appreciate you joining us. I want to start by playing just a little 10-second clip of the president yesterday. Now, look, ISIS killed a Jordanian pilot by setting the man on fire. It's absolutely horrific. And here is the president reacting to that.
It's just one more indication of the viciousness and barbarity of this organization.
So I commented last hour that it sounds like the man is reading his grocery list. I mean, if we're talking about Republicans, he'd be pounding the table. If he was talking about, redistributing wealth, he would be pounding the table. But when you talk about something so horrific involving ISIS, he seems to be absolutely passionless.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this, and neither of you, and neither is Larry, and neither is anybody who's listening to this program. I mean, the basic human compassion, you would think there's a little bit more passion in the man's voice. This just tells me he is trying to downplay this. If you played the clip from the day before where he says this is not an existential threat, in essence he's saying, everybody calm down, everything's going to be fine. He's doing this because he intends to take no effective action to destroy this enemy. And that's the problem. You can't gut the United States military on one hand and then on the other hand take on this enemy. We're 315 million people. We have the biggest economy in the world, even under this knucklehead, the biggest economy that could swallow up the next 5. We could do what we need to do to stamp out these cockroaches. It would take a real leader, a real president, a real statesman, a real commander-in-chief, and he ain't it. It's that simple.
Mark Levin, we had you on when your great book, The Liberty Amendments, came out. And one of the things we focused on was this idea that you were proposing, the Convention of States. And it sure seems like you've got a lot of people who like what you have to say, because we're looking at Montana, Wyoming, and North Dakota voting on the idea of a Convention of the States this month. And also right here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the vote is coming forward. But I'm seeing, even from politicians who should know better, I'm seeing a lot of them calling this a constitutional convention. I'm seeing them just sort of not really get it. Can you please re-explain what the people of Virginia are facing right now and what the decision is?
Yeah, first of all, it's not my idea. It's in Article 5 of the Constitution, like all the rest of the Constitution. It was put there even before we had a Bill of Rights. And what's amazing is the willingness of some so-called conservative politicians, pseudo-politicians, knuckleheads, who are taking the talking points from the John Birch Society, which supports secession. I think we went through that once.
Yeah.
And nullification.
Didn't work out so well.
Right. This is a lawful, constitutional, civil, legitimate means to take back our republic and to begin to reverse course. We're supposed to be more of a bottom-up government. We're now more of an iron fist and centralized government. The Supreme Court, 5 justices, control whatever they want to control. They decide what they want to control. We have a Congress that now passes massive bills that nobody reads, plenary power. That's not what Article 1 says. We have a president proudly beating his chest as an imperial president, and it is scary, and a massive bureaucracy that pushes out thousands of regulations a year that have the power to imprison people, fine people. We can't read 1 million pages of regulations over the last 11 years. So what do? We just elect more Mitch McConnells and John Boehners, and that's not going to work. It can't work, and the Republicans, to some extent, are involved in this. The framers provided a fire alarm. They said, look, we're going to have 2 ways to amend this Constitution. The first way we've done, 2/3 of both houses of Congress propose an amendment to all the states. And you need 38 states. That's a big task to pass an amendment. Or we'll let the states propose amendments to themselves at a meeting, a convention of the states, in which 34 state legislatures can call a meeting. They can discuss, come up with proposals, and also, same ratification process, 38 states. That means 13 red states can stop anything if there's something crazy that happens. There's nothing crazy that's going to happen. All the crazy stuff is coming top down from Washington. I love people who say to me, Larry, well, we could have a runaway convention. We have a runaway convention right now.
Exactly.
And the point is, you cannot have a runaway convention at the Convention of the States for several reasons. Number one, you need 38 states to ratify. Number two, it pushes this process through the amendment process. So not 5 justices, 1 Congress, 1 president make these decisions.
Right.
And number two, the whole purpose of this is to sort of reinstate the balance that the Constitution once had. Those defending those so-called conservatives, and they're really not, even though they get upset when I say this, those defending, they claim to be defending the Constitution. They're not. They're defending the people who have rewritten the Constitution. They're defending the precedent that's put in place by the left. 50 years of it. And what we're saying is, no, if you believe in federalism, if you claim to believe in federalism and the state process, the states together, and it's no simple task, the states together need to balance the budget, put in term limits, control the bureaucracy, and do the things the feds are not going to do because the feds obviously like what they've done.
All right, so you say that there are some out there that are mischaracterizing this idea that you very clearly explained. So who are they? Name some names for us.
Well, are you a troublemaker? No, I'm not going to do that because I'll tell you why, it's not fair. I've got a national show. We've got your big show here, and then they're going to start screaming and sending emails to Bill Hess.
Well, we don't want that.
We don't care about that.
I don't want that.
I will just tell you this. The real constitutional scholars, the people who really studied this, I wrote a whole book on it. I was skeptical at the beginning, and now I'm a strong advocate. Know that this is a perfectly legitimate way to embrace federalism, the 10th Amendment, Article 5, and a legitimate process. Because I'll tell you what, the opponents have no answers, zero. They're sitting around waiting for the Supreme Court to save us, like in Obama. They're sitting around waiting for a Republican Congress that whines and complains and says it doesn't have power while it's surrendering what little power it has. They're sitting around complaining about Obama. They have no solution whatsoever. And I'm saying the framers have told us what to do.
Right.
Why
Here's
don't we
the
listen to them?
Put it back in the hands of the people through the states. So Mark, listen, you've forgotten more about national politics than most of us will ever know, but you're also a proud resident of Loudoun County. You know Virginia politics very well. What do you think the prospects are for this? Is it going to get through the Virginia House of Delegates and the Senate?
Well, honestly, I don't know because I don't know the Virginia process, all those state reps and state senators that well. But I will say this, because it is let me put it to you this way. It's always easier to oppose something like this than to support it because of the scare tactics and the thug tactics. Oh, you're attacking the Constitution. The very people who are using the Constitution to try and breathe life back into it, to try and stop what's going on, are now being accused of supporting what's called a con-con. Yeah. So if you ever hear somebody say a con-con, a constitutional convention, you know they're fraud.
They're wrong. They don't get it. Yeah. All right, Mark, and really fast before we leave you, just wanted to personally congratulate you on a fantastic contract extension. You're now our 2020 man, firmly ensconced here at WMAL and many cumulus stations around the country until 2020. That's great.
You never know. I could get hit by a bus. So
I'm
not encouraging it. I'm just saying. You know.
Yeah, there are plenty of people who will take you up on that, Levin.
Yeah, exactly. I watch. Don't worry.
Mark Levin, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
The greatest morning show. God bless you guys.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate that.